Welcome back to Tracking That, a channel where we try to track what liberals are saying but end up not being able to as usual. And in this video we have Tulsi's fiery response to Trump's guilty verdict. So the Democrats' plan all along was to bankrupt him, diminish his credibility via impeachments, constant negative news coverage, and label Trump as a convicted felon. And they finally got what they wished for: 34 charges for simply paying his lawyer. Their next step in their diabolical plan is to probably put him on house arrest, so it prevents him from rallying to 100,000 people a pop, and fake polls saying less people are supporting him because he's a convicted felon. Unfortunately for them, he just raised $52 million, and the response to this is frankly unity. Even Joe Manchin left the Democrat Party, registering as an independent, and now the Democrats technically do not have the majority of the Senate anymore. This technically opened up the Democrat slot, so I don't know if it was the best move, especially if you still caucus with the Democrats, but that's beside the point. Now it's time to fight fire with fire by indicting all the Epstein clients, Judge Merchan's daughter for profiting off the trial, all the other past presidents for war crimes, Obama and Hillary Clinton for spying on Trump's campaign. The list goes on. But are we going to do any of that? Oh, wait, Jim Jordan sent a strong letter to Alvin Bragg to answer questions at a hearing. All talk, no action, just a bunch of letters to make themselves feel good about themselves. But now it's time for the Supreme Court to step in and use emergency powers to quickly overturn this case and let it backfire so hard in their face.
We're going to vigorously appeal this verdict. I think this case is replete with reversible error. We are going to take this as high and as far as we need to, including to the U.S. Supreme Court, to vindicate President Trump's rights, because there was nothing legal, there was nothing normal about what happened in this New York courtroom over the last month and a half. We moved for a change of venue here. I completely agree with Todd Blanche that it was impossible for President Trump to have a fair trial in Lower Manhattan. We also moved to recuse the judge off of this case. We believe that he was irretrievably conflicted and biased, and there was no way that he ever should have been presiding over this case.
That was one of Trump's lawyers speaking. I have hopes that this will get overturned, but this is having us lose faith in the justice system. This is supposed to be an apolitical system, and we're left with Democrats abusing it to their political advantage. Believe it or not, the majority of lawyers are Democrats. There's no denying that. If you try to apply to any law school, you basically have to hide you're a Republican because they have questionnaires like, are you a supporter of the LGBT community? And if you don't press yes, they'll use a different excuse on why they didn't accept you. That's why I think affirmative action to an extent is still technically illegal. And we can't trust the legal process anymore, like Schmuck Loser says. Of course, with a case like Kyle Rittenhouse, they didn't trust the legal process, but now they expect us to. But as I've said before, it's time to be tactical about this election. Now more than ever, it's important that Trump chooses a vice president that will help us win the majority of independent voters. As much as I want a Vivek Ramaswamy or Tucker Carlson, we need someone like Tulsi Gabbard. Since Democrats love using labels like convicted felon every 2 seconds, Tulsi can use the label that she left the Democrat Party because they are not the party of our grandparents anymore. I'm also needing Trump to rally in places that are Bronx-level cities. We don't need rallies in Alabama. I want to see deep inner city, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania rallies, areas where Republicans never go. But anyways, I think you'll love Tulsi's message in this. Her main message is that she wants to see punishment for the Democrats doing this complete travesty, both in a legal form and a voting out way. I really think she's a slam dunk to win independent voters. I mean, she single-handedly took out Kamala Harris in the 2020 presidential debates.
If you turn on the news right now, you're going to see almost nothing but people talking about what happened in that New York courtroom today with Donald Trump. I think it's important that we take a step back and really look at what are the very serious consequences that have come from this, that extend far beyond this specific case, these charges, this verdict, and even Donald Trump. What we are seeing here should be a wake-up call to every American, regardless of your political affiliation, regardless about how you feel about President Trump or President Biden. What has happened is President Biden has turned our country into a banana republic, a country where those in power are using the law, the rule of law, and our justice system and law enforcement to persecute their political opponents. Now, this isn't something that is only happening to Donald Trump. The consequences of this apply to every one of us, because as we see this new norm and new precedent being set, how can we as Americans feel safe and feel emboldened in challenging political authorities in our own country when we know that they can use the power of law enforcement to go after us, to go after their political opponents, to go after people who have the courage and the audacity to challenge their authority? That is what is at stake here. The foundation for the success of our democratic republic is that we as Americans, we the people, have faith and trust in the rule of law. We must have this confidence that we will all be treated fairly under the law, regardless of our political affiliation or views, regardless of our race or religion, regardless of anything, any of these other affiliations or circumstances, that we will all be treated equally. That foundation of our democracy has been destroyed by the Biden-Harris administration. Make no mistake about how serious this is to you and me and to the future of our ability to live in a free society. They have done this through their personal political persecution of Donald Trump. If we allow this to stand, it'll forever be destroyed and our country will be finished if it's not reversed, and reversed quickly. So how do we do that? The only way is if every one of us as Americans, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or a libertarian, when every one of us as Americans makes that decision that there is nothing more important than freedom. There is nothing more important than protecting our democratic republic, than defending our Constitution, than upholding the rule of law and saving our country. We must hold those accountable. We must hold President Biden and his administration accountable by punishing them and other politicians who dare to put their own desire for power in a higher place of importance than our freedom, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our rule of law, our democratic republic. It's not too late. November 5th is a critical election where we have the opportunity to hold these people to account by voting them out of office on November 5th and voting for Donald Trump.
She's a woman, she's smart, she serves our country, she was a congresswoman, she was a Democrat. This is everything that you want to check in a box for someone to be vice president. Okay, minus the Democrat part. But I think this will be played to our advantage. And a lot of people actually don't know this about her, but she denied RFK Jr. being the vice presidential candidate for him. And I think it's because she's strategically trying to be Donald Trump's, and she said on numerous occasions that she would accept it. So let me know what you guys think about Tulsi Gabbard being the vice president. I've been rooting for her for a while because I know we need to have this be a tactical situation to get as many independent voters as possible. But anyways, guys, that's all I have for today's video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.